Hello, here we have to divide two fractions. The first one is xy minus y squared out of x squared plus 2x plus 1 divided by the second fraction is 2x squared plus xy minus 3y squared out of 2x squared plus 5xy plus 3y squared. Let's begin by rewriting this into multiplication. We keep the first fraction as is, so we have xy minus y squared out of x squared plus 2x plus 1. We change division into multiplication and we flip the second fraction, so we get 2x squared plus 5xy plus 3y squared out of 2x squared plus xy minus 3y squared. Now we can follow the procedure for multiplying fractions by factoring all of the numerators and denominators. On this step we are going to factor, and let's begin by factoring the first numerator, which is xy minus y squared. We can take out the greatest common factor of y from here. Y goes into the denominator and y goes on the outside, and we are left with y times xy divided by y. Y's will cancel, and we have one factor of x minus y squared divided by y. We have one factor of y left over. So first numerator factors into y times x minus y. Let's factor first denominator, which is x squared plus 2x plus 1. We begin by multiplying leading coefficient, which is 1, times the last constant, which is also 1, and we get a product of 1. Now we need to list all of the factor pairs of 1, which is only 1 times 1 will give us 1. It's positive, so we look for sum, and we need the sum to add up to 2. So positive 1 times positive 1 will give us 1, and 1 plus 1 gives us 2. Let's rewrite 2x as 1x plus 1x. And we keep everything else as is, so we get x squared plus 1x plus 1x plus 1. Let's factor by grouping. From the first pair of terms we can take out x, and x goes on the outside. From the second pair of terms we can take out 1, because only 1 goes evenly into x and 1, so we have plus 1 on the outside, and we get x times x squared divided by x. We have one factor of x left over, plus 1x divided by x, we have 1, plus 1 times x divided by 1, we have x, 1 divided by 1, we have plus 1. We have x times x plus 1, plus 1 times x plus 1. We can take out common factor of x plus 1. Whatever goes into denominator goes on the outside. So we have x times x plus 1 out of x plus 1, x plus 1 and x plus 1 will cancel. Plus 1 times x plus 1 out of x plus 1, x plus 1 out of x plus 1 will cancel. And we are left with x plus 1 times x plus 1. So our first denominator factors into x plus 1 times x plus 1. Let's factor second numerator, which is 2x squared plus 5xy plus 3y squared. We begin by multiplying leading coefficient times the last coefficient, which is 2 times 3. And we get a product of 6. We list all of the factor pairs of 6. We have 1 and 6. We have 2 and 3, and that's all. We need a factor pair that adds up to positive 5. Because the product is positive 6, we are looking for sum. And we need the sum to add up to positive 5. Positive 2 plus 3 gives us 5. 2 times 3 gives us 6 back. So we are going to rewrite 5xy as positive 2xy plus 3xy. And we are going to keep everything else as is. So we have 2x squared plus 2xy plus 3xy plus 3 y to the second. Now we can factor by grouping. We have first pair of terms, which are 2x squared plus 2xy. We can factor out 2 from each of them. Both of them can also be evenly divided by x, so 2x goes on the outside. From the second pair of terms, which are 3xy plus 3y squared, we can divide each of them by 3, and each of them can be divided by y evenly as well. So positive 3y goes on the outside. This becomes 2x times 2x squared divided by 2x. 2 and 2 will cancel into 1. X and x squared cancel into 1 factor of x, plus 2xy divided by 2x. 2 and 2 will cancel into 1. X and x will cancel into 1, so we just have x plus y left in the first parentheses, plus 3y times 3xy divided by 3y. 3 and 3 cancels into 1. Y and y cancels into 1. We just have x plus 3y squared divided by 3y. 3 and 3 will cancel into 1. Y and y to the second cancel into 1 factor of y. So now we have 2xy times x plus y plus 3y times x plus y. We have a common factor of x plus y, which we can factor out by dividing both terms by x plus y. And whatever goes on to the denominator goes on the outside. So we have x plus y on the outside. This gives us 2x times x plus y out of x plus y. X plus y out of x plus y cancel. Plus 3y times x plus y out of x plus y. X plus y and x plus y will cancel. So we are left with 2x plus 3y times x plus y. So we get that second numerator cancels into 2x plus 3y times x plus y out of, let's factor second denominator, which is 2x squared plus xy minus 3y squared. We begin by multiplying leading coefficient by the last coefficient, which is 2 times negative 3, and we get a product of negative 6. We list all of the factor pairs of 6. We have 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Since we have negative 6 as a product, we look for difference of factors, and we need the difference to be positive 1. 2 and 3 have a difference of 1. We need the difference to be positive, so we need more positives and fewer negatives. Negative 2 plus 3 gives us 1. So let's rewrite 1xy as negative 2xy plus 3xy. This gives us 1xy back, and we keep everything else as is. So 2x to the second minus 2xy plus 3xy minus 3y to the second. We can factor by grouping. We have first two terms are 2x squared minus 2xy. Both of these can be divided by 2. We can also divide them by x evenly, so we have 2x on the outside. The other two terms are 3xy minus 3y squared. We can divide each of them by 3, and y also goes into them evenly, so we get plus 3y on the outside. This simplifies into 2x times 2x squared divided by 2x. 2 and 2 cancel into 1. X and x squared cancel into 1 factor of x, minus 2xy divided by 2x. 2 and 2 will cancel into 1. X and x cancels into 1, so we just have x minus y plus 3y times, we have 3xy divided by 3y. 3 and 3 will cancel into 1. Y and y will cancel into 1. So we just have x minus 3y to the second out of 3y. 3 and 3 will cancel into 1. Y and y to the second cancel into 1 factor of y. So we have 2x times x minus y plus 3y times x minus y. We can factor out x minus y by dividing each term by x minus y. And whatever goes into denominator goes on the outside, and we get x minus y that we factored out times 2x times x minus y out of x minus y. These two cancel, so we just have 2x plus 3y times x minus y out of x minus y and x minus y will cancel, so we just have 2x plus 3y. So our second denominator factors into x minus y times 2x plus 3y. Multiplying fractions is done by multiplying numerators and denominators together. So now in numerator we have y times x minus y times 2x plus 3y times x plus y. And in denominator we have x plus 1 times x plus 1 times x minus y times 2x plus 3y. On this step, we can reduce common factors. The first pair is x minus y in numerator with x minus y in denominator. So x minus y out of x minus y cancel into 1 out of 1. We also have 2x plus 3y in common. So 2x plus 3y in numerator can cancel with 2x plus 3y in denominator. They become 1 out of 1 as well. And we have no more factors in common. So this whole thing will become y times x plus y out of x plus 1 times x plus 1. And this is our solution. That's all.